Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. This was supposed to be a video of my ugly mug in a chair, but since our digital camera doesn't work as a webcam, it turns out, you get a picture of a goat. I didn't even bother respacing it for the border there. It shows you how much I'm half-assing this at the moment. This is my intro video. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this channel as of yet. I am brand new to this space. There's several other people in the household that are a little more savvy in social media. I just watch YouTube videos all day and pretend I know what's going on. At my age, I don't. So I am, there's not much to me. I am an IT engineer of 20 plus years, worn different hats. Everything from a data center tech, desktop, support engineer, all the way through cloud engineer, DevOps engineer. They change the title all the time. I play guitar. I'm not that great, no virtuoso. I've played a while, but I just noodle around these days. I used to be a hefty video game. I used to be a hefty gamer. I am not now, but if worse comes to worse, you start throwing random rage videos on here of me sucking at video games, and I'm sure I'll get some hits. So, worst comes to worse, I'll go with that. I have a few other interests here and there, but I think I'm going to try to remain topical on this and cover du jour topics. This one, as you will likely see in the title, has to do with me getting laid off, and that's what spurred me on for this, and the general state of the job market in the U.S. I'm in the U.S. Now. I've been looking for work now for about a month and a half. Some people have been looking much longer. I've gotten very few interviews, very few hits overall, maybe here and there, but not much. There was a time when you had the right IT skill sets, and they'd be kicking down your door. And I realized as I was facing this kind of new job reality that I've had a lot of conversations with my coworkers, some of which who haven't found work in a long time either, and the jobscape has fundamentally changed. I think everyone already knows this. There's a million videos you can find. Everybody's talking about this. So again, I'm covering du jour topics until I come up with something more interesting to do. So here's just my personal take on all of it. For the one thing, the days, just to cover this, I wanted to cover this for all generations. And speaking of generations, let's start by not blaming generational gaps. It's no one generation's fault that we have these constant crises. If anything, we all sat back and allowed the elites of the world to concoct this reality, and we all did nothing about it. No one generation did anything. The silent generation was certainly silent, and they had everything. They had it all, and they had to work really hard. They worked very hard, but they had a real reality to fight for. And the boomers, got to ride that one into incredible success. They also worked hard. It was a hard-working generation. But, starting around the Gen Xers, I'm what you'd call a Zennial, is what I keep hearing myself called. I like that term, so I use it. I am at just the tail end of Gen X, the beginning of the millennial era kind of deal, kind of in that window. And each generation blames the next one. The Gen Zers are not some magical problem. Gen Alpha is not going to be some magical problem. We're not the problem. Gen X wasn't the problem. The problem is humanity being humanity, and the rest of humanity not policing them hard enough, because we're all just sort of struggling to get by. We're not really thinking of policing the world. The people who could run the world the most fairly are not going to be the ones who are going to run it, unfortunately. So here we are. And I thought I would share my thoughts on the current job market as I've discovered it, as I've seen it, and maybe I have some thoughts on how some of you, if you're encountering this situation, can get around it. I really would like to reach out and help more. I've been burrowed in work for so long myself that I forgot that everyone else is having issues as well all around me. So I am hoping that through this channel and through other things, I can help myself and others. You got to be strong yourself to help others. And if we don't help each other, the elites of the world are going to eat us all alive. We are nothing but food for them. So, first of all, generational gap. Just stop with the finger pointing across generations. At this point, excuse the clapping there. At this point, everyone's having my 20-year-old son has put in a bazillion apps already, and yeah, it's obviously hyperbole since the number bazillion is very hard to quantify. But he's put in tons of apps, and getting your app through. So let me talk about application tracking systems. In this day and age, we like to send apps in and gather data and store it all with technology, all digitally for the most part. And the consequence of that is companies being bombarded by technologically advanced applications need a system to manage them, and these application or applicant tracking systems have become very detailed over time and very, very powerful, but also very unfair. There's no human element anymore. Your resume, your applications are not being seen by managers most of the time. There are some good companies out there that try not to treat people like this, but you got to realize that in very few cases is anybody going to see your resume. They don't literally delete them. It's more like they stack rank them and place them. You'd be down at the bottom unless you're very carefully. These companies have so many people to pick from these days, so many more people than there are available jobs, that they set these criteria, and then sometimes these ATS they don't, these systems they're using are causing are shedding applications that they don't actually want to shed. It's just misconfigured. There's that too. And then people who are seeing your application these days are not dedicated to the job. It's rush, rush, rush. It's very hard to get a fair shake. You're not getting those interviews. They're not bringing you in, and there's not much we can do about it at this point. I think I have a few ideas, some of which I'm trying to implement myself, and hopefully these help out. And again, just any discourse is good around this, and as long as we get talking, as long as everybody's talking, because yeah, I'm a jerk. It took me getting laid off to realize that everybody's suffered quite a bit. But you think about factory workers or coal miners or lumber. Yeah, there's still lumber mills, but you think about all these jobs have been displaced by automation. Automation is this great efficiency, but the human condition is more important. It's more important we have our dignity and our ability to work than it is that we have super efficient machines to do everything for us. The world is not ready for such things. And if it is, it's certainly not showing signs of it. We're all going to rot in the street before we get universal basic income or something along those lines at this rate. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I hope not. I think governments need to understand this. They don't care. The elites don't always care about we the peons, the small folk, the serfs at the bottom. They want to keep us uneducated. I think I'll cover education in college in the U.S. at least. Where else would I cover it in the future? But I'll try to stick. I'll try to stick on topic for this. So you've got a lot stacking against you. We all do, and even if you have a marketable skill set, or you don't, or you're just getting into the job market, and again, I'll cover college graduates later, but they've got it rough, and these new generations really have it tough. It's we can sneer at them all we want. I fell into that trap too, but it's not their fault. It's not our fault. It's no one's fault. It's just we have not adequately controlled the human condition. It's very difficult to do. Most of us don't want to lead, and those that do are like Elon Musk. So, that's its own brand of terror. So I do have some thoughts. I'm gonna try to keep these rants brief. I'm no great expert or topic. I'm no great thought leader on any one topic or another. I do have some thoughts on how we can attempt to work within this and sidestep it. I don't have a success story yet to share. As I do, if I gather some success in anything I do, I will share my info here. Again, I would like to help anyone I can in any way I can. For the one part, and this is something I'm attempting, is kind of a lateral adjacent step in your career. If you're not applying your skill set as well as you'd like, and you're not getting those results, I'm trying to move in the data direction of things. For example, looking into statistics and analysis. It would cover what used to be considered database administration, that sort of thing. There are still DBAs, and they're very skilled people, but it's just becoming a skill set. They expect everyone, they're jamming it all into one skill set. I'm hoping to get into the big data ML movement. You always need data, and you always need people to wrangle it however they do it. I'm hoping that's not, that's what feeds the systems that automate everything. So I still think there's a human touch there for now. Who knows how long that lasts, but those kind of adjacent steps, whatever you may do, in music, if you're a music producer, you could try making your own music. You could try to offer lessons, or just these lateral steps. I'll get more into that. Another good option these days, which some folk like myself can't do anymore. I had physical jobs when I was younger, but the more manual labor and tradecraft. For those of you just getting in, I'm kind of injured from my early days. But if you're in good shape, or if you're younger and you're holding it together, I would say that there are a lot of trades that are still considered valuable and do hire: landscaping, electricians, good paying job, by the way, plumbing, HVAC. We live in this culture where somehow these industries are people sneer at people who want to work at these are valuable industries that you can learn a craft, make money, and they're not likely to replace you with cheap overseas contractors or machine learning. I admit they can automate anything, as we discussed before, but this kind of one-sided discussion where I'm always right, ha ha ha. But this is a good step, because you're just a lot of that more humanized work is likely to be there. It may not be an option for you. It's no longer an option for me anymore. But I worked some jobs. I worked in warehouses when I was younger and such as well. So nothing wrong with that kind of work. Don't dismiss it until you see what opportunities might be there. Another option for this kind of thing is what I'm doing right now, and what we're all doing right now, and what a lot of you probably are doing yourselves already. But if not, I would recommend you look into social media. You look into presenting yourself out there, so to speak. To putting your work out there to gain a portfolio. Have a portfolio of whatever you do, whether it's something creative, whether it's technical crafts. Having a presence that you don't have to show your face on cam. I was intending to here until things went wrong, but this works. You don't, try not to, don't share personal info with everyone and such things. Try to keep a low profile for the most part, but this is a good way to create a brand. If you show yourself doing the work, whatever that may be, whether it's creating craft or coding or anything else, or performing live testing on a game, if you want to be a game tester, whatever it is, you have video of it, you have pages, blog. I know blogs are old, but anything, you put yourself out there as a brand. You develop yourself, because when these big companies all control the means, and the rich and the powerful control everything, the only thing you can really sell is learning and growing and connecting with other human beings. This is kind of all we've got left. They have all the power in every other possible way. We have no choice but to embrace the human element as an advantage instead of calling it a weakness. And putting yourself out there. Social media is an option, but just putting yourself out there and making connections. Networking is, as an aside, networking and who is going to That's where these business opportunities will come from, whether for yourself or in the workplace. Who you know is more likely to get you a job than what you know or what degrees you have. And again, I'll cover schooling later, maybe in my next video. I think that would be a good topic. And yeah, in the long run, as a kind of a sub concept, there is I had no luck with things like Fiverr and Upwork myself, but you could try those type of gig. The gig economy and having a side hustle or hustles is really the way to go. Driving for Uber or Lyft, things like that. Any of the sort of gig jobs, I know everybody lashes out at them, and it's true they're not spectacular work, but you can make decent money. It can be something you do when you have the time, and you never know when you're going to be laid off. You never know what's going to happen to you. It's nice to have options. Don't listen to companies who say you have no right to have multiple jobs. As long as you can do all your jobs successfully, yes, you do. They're going to throw you aside as soon as they're done with you. There's no reason for you to be so loyal that you think you can just dedicate yourself to their, to whatever company you're working for. They're not dedicated to you. So I'm not saying don't be loyal, especially to a good company, but your loyalty can only carry you so far. Be your own brand. As I said, you have to, if they take tech from us, we will have to build the new tools and build the new learning and build the new systems ourselves. If they take art from you, you will have to become so, you'll have to create the next new thing with your fellow artists that ML will then have to train on, which will always be a step ahead of them. Or, music, the same idea, anything, photography. You're going up against these systems that can try to emulate what you do, but we all need to be one step ahead of them and create the human factor. And those imperfections that drive humanity, those need to become a strength and not a weakness. Giving it all to Corpo is just an Orwellian prospect that I don't think any of us are going to be happy with it. But we all do need, in closing, I would say we all do need to come to grips with the fact that working for other companies and gaining success from that without our own standby may be a thing of the past or slowly dying out. So anyway, this is just a cantankerous, ranting old fart signing off. I'm going to try to remain topical, but if I get any kind of good feedback on some of my other ideas, I'm willing to haul the guitar out and plunk around aimlessly or talk tech. But I'm going to try to keep these videos low tech and low key, and I can't do much editing. I'm not good in this space yet. I'd love to connect with people who are, but I am not good in this space yet. So don't expect anything super interesting out of me in that territory, but by all means, if anybody has any suggestions, let me know. Like I said, video game rage videos, or maybe me and my family will just start playing D&D. That seems popular. All right, well, you all have a good night, and hopefully I'm not just going to be talking to myself at this point. All right, later, everyone.